Hello, my name is Veronica and welcome into the Learning Lab. And in today's lab, I'd like to share with you how I made this sweet little cutie right in front of us. Come on in and let's get started. So let's start with the apple. This is a wooden apple and it's actually by Doris. I've had them forever. Can't even tell you where I got them from. And I'm also going to insert a picture in here of where I spray painted these. But what I did, I was trying to mask this part off when I spray painted it, and it was going wrong all kinds of ways. So I spray painted all of them, maybe 3 coats, and then I went back with a coat of Mod Podge. I also used a mixture of green paints to paint in my leaf, and I did brown for my stem, and I painted both sides of that. And I also spray painted the back and put a little bit of glossy Mod Podge on the side. Then I went to some teacher-themed quotes that I had, and I just thought these were perfect to go on there, except these were all cut at the wrong size. But I will find a use for them. And this one actually says Teacher Fuel. Might be a little hard to see, but that one was in white. And then so what I did was I went ahead and put all of those sayings onto my apples. Now the construction of the box. So this paper that I'm using is from Die Cuts with a View, and it's grade school foil striped shoe. I got this paper years ago from Tuesday Morning in a beautiful pack, and you're going to need 2 pieces of that cut to 7 by 12. To line the inside of the box, I also use this paper, and it's from Around the Block, and it's cut to 4 7/8 by 12. And then for the very bottom base of it, I just cut a piece of paper. I think it was 6 by 6, just so I'd have enough room to cover my piece of chipboard. And then the liner that went on top of that is cut at 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. But now my piece of chipboard that's going to go on the bottom of that is cut by 4 1/4. Then for the liner pieces to make the sides, you're going to need 4 of those, and they are all cut at 3 1/2 by 5. And how I got the 3 1/2 by 5 was that I took my apple and I measured it. And my apple was actually 5 inches wide, and from top to bottom it was almost 6 inches tall. And I'd initially created a box that was going to have it so that none of that apple showed, and that box was going to be way too big. It was gargantuan. So I sized it down to this one. So let's go ahead and put this together. So starting out, we're going to have to join these 2 pieces of paper because I need it to be really long. And when I'm joining this, I want to also look at the pattern on the other side. And since this part is going to end up being covered by the apple, it really doesn't matter what is behind here because eventually that apple is going to go in front. So let's go ahead and glue these 2 together. Okay, so now those 2 pieces are joined, and I really wanted to make sure my stripes stayed in alignment. Then the next thing we're going to do is start to put down our pieces. And basically I am just going to remove all of my stickies that I have on there and come back, and we're going to place those down. So starting here, I'm just going to kind of get it halfway for the fold over. And right there, looks pretty good. When you're doing this, you really want to make sure that these edges are lined up with each other because they are going to be the bottom. Okay, so those are all of the pieces down. Let's give those a nice burnish. And then on this end, I'm going to go ahead and take some of this off because I don't need all of that. And you end up being left with a nice piece. So don't toss that, whatever you do. Alrighty. So now I need to get these ready to fold over. And I do like going around here with this, because it does help to get those pieces ready to go around. Okay, so now down on this end is going to be the end where I'm going to actually cut my flap to wrap to the inside of the box. So kind of go ahead and get those ready. And then we just need to miter our corners. I am stingy on my mitering. I'd rather have to go back and trim a little more. So we're going to cut this here so that it will fold down, and that's on both sides. One thing I like to do is a little dry fit, just to make sure that my edges are going to meet up with one another and it looks like they are. So now it's just a matter of removing our tape and gluing down the panels. Okay, so starting back down here, pull that over. And then for this one, I'm going to kind of start it in the center. Start pulling, but making sure I get this edge closed. Okay. Same thing over here. I'll start pulling up from the center and then making sure I get my edge. Now, down on this end, because that's what's going to wrap on the inside, there are two ways to do this. You can cut it straight across so it stays level, or you can angle them. On my other ones I angled, but on this one I think I am going to keep it straight across. So let's remove that. Now for our two liner pieces. This paper has two sides. I have a large alphabet and then I have a small one. So I'm actually going to start with the small alphabet. And the only thing I need is some glue going around the edge. Okay, got my glue all around. Let's get it stuck down. And if you've done bookmaking or making journals, it's that same technique that you're using. You want to make sure that glue goes to the edge so that your paper doesn't come flying up. Now for the other piece, as you can see, I don't need it to be as long, but what I do need to do is take it up to the edge. And I'm going to overlap it by the teensiest of bits and take it all the way to the tip of this paper. And then I'll put some glue down here. Even though I'm going to remove some, I don't want to go up the other side. And just a little bit of overlap. And that's where my fold over flap is going to be. Okay. So let's remove this extra bit. And so now we have this. So let's go ahead and start again to work those back in, ensuring that all of it is pressed down. And I'm really working on this so that my paper doesn't crack on me. Don't press too hard, but you want to give it some room to start moving for you. Okay, there we are, and now we are ready to put our box up. And there it is. But I don't want this much on the inside, so I am going to take off some of that. How about if we go about halfway? So this flap will get glued to the inside, and these are going to match up. But one thing you want to do is to make sure this bottom is flush, no matter where the stripes wind up being. So let's get this glued down. And I am putting a lot of glue on this. Because I do want it to stay adhered. Trying to keep my bottom flush and trying to put those lines as close together as I can get them. It's looking pretty good. And I'm going to go in the inside with my bone folder and make sure it's pressed down really well. And get rid of any glue that might be lurking on the inside. Now, I'm not going to take it from this side yet because I really want to make sure this is stuck nice and tight. I'll just clean it up a little bit, and I am going to sit this off to the side and let the glue finish setting up while we put our base together. So now for the base, I have, remember this paper is double-sided with the big letters and the small ones. So I'm going to tape mine down on the large letter size. And these were designed to be colored in if you wanted them to be. Now this is, my tape doesn't go all the way to the edge, and this is going to be wrapped, but I am still going to put just a little bit of glue on the naked chipboard part. And somewhat in the center. And now to miter corners. again, just running this along here to get my paper ready to go over that edge. And then I do love to dry fit my corners to make sure they're all going to work, and it looks like they are. So now let's remove this, and then we're going to put on our other piece. And again, I am going to put a little bit of glue where I have my naked chipboard. Okay, that's done, and now to put on my cover piece and just a little bit of glue there. Oh boy, do I need my fine tip. This is one of the bottles, and I just cut the tip, and I had to keep cutting it and keep cutting it to avoid glue being clogged no matter what glue I use. And I don't know, I'm gonna have to figure something out. Alright, so here we go. This one goes right here. And there we are. Base is all done, except this is not the part that's going to go inside the box. This is the part that's going to go on the bottom. So when you look at it, everything around is going to be nice that you're actually going to see. So now I think my box has set up and it is ready to go like this, because that's where my line is and that's what I'm going to cover. And now I need to put some glue around here. Alright, there it is, all glued. And now this is my front, because there's my thing. And let's see if I can get this on here nice and straight. I will have some time to finagle with it if I need to. Square, so let's press down on it. This will give the glue a chance to set up, and then I'm going to wipe away any excess. If yours needs any adjusting, go ahead and do that before the glue totally sets up. One thing that I like to do is, once I've gotten it there, is to turn this over and then put something heavy on top. This is probably set up enough for me to go ahead and go to the next step, which is to put our apple on. And again, this is my front. How about if we do this? Thank you for making me one smart cookie. And it is a little holographic-y, and that is going to end up being perched right there. So to do this, I am using some of my E6000. And I already know my apple comes up to about here, goes down and across. So that's the part that I'm filling in with the E6000. Now, to help my apple stay down, I'm going to put some hot glue on here, and I'm going to put some hot glue right here on those tips. So I'm putting a little bit of hot glue on here just to help it stick right away so it doesn't fall off. And Down here, I am going to put just a little bit on those tips that are going to touch the base of the box. And there it is. Really, really cute. And I'm going to go inside and press so that the hot glue and that E6000 can get a chance to bond with each other. And I'm holding it up because I have that lip that's on there. If you're wondering about the bone folder I'm using, it's a really old one from Provocraft that I got geegogs of years ago. And that's it. So these are the ones. This is the one I made previously, the one we just made together. I also have this one, this one, and this one. Don't make me use my teacher voice. These came out so cute. And I actually have two don't make me use my teacher voice because I think that's going to be really popular. And these can be filled with candies for the teacher, especially How Sweet It Is to Be Taught by You and the Smart Cookie one. Maybe you could make your teacher a little tin of cookies. Now, one other thing that I want to share is that when I was done, I had all of this left over from that sheet of paper I cut that had the sneakers on there. It actually went on up like this for that 12 by 12 piece. And what I have left is 5.5 by 12. And I'm thinking I can cut this in half and make it 2.5. And then I can make some teacher 3 by 3 note cards to go inside. If you are doing a craft fair, I think this is a fabulous, fantastic idea for a teacher gift. And I know as a teacher myself, I would love it. You can always stick a gift card, a coffee pod, some tea, any of that inside. And because it is chipboard, you can put a bottle of water inside. Yeah, water. As always, thank you for joining me in the Learning Lab today. Please be sure to check out my blog at inkallusions.blogspot.com. And if you are not a subscriber to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscription button so that you can be notified when I upload new videos. Until then.